Look, passing a prop firm challenge is incredibly hard, right? But keeping that funded account once you get it, honestly, that can actually be even harder. Welcome to the video. Today, we're completely shattering the illusion that passing an evaluation is the actual finish line. We're going to dive deep into the real reasons why these funded accounts just keep disappearing, and more importantly, exactly how you can fix your process. Because the truth of the matter is, you aren't just trading the market anymore. You are trading inside some incredibly strict limits.
So let's tackle the really uncomfortable truth right out of the gate here. Many traders repeatedly blow their funded accounts. And guess what? It is usually not because their trading strategy is totally flawed, or because they suddenly forgot how to read the market. No. It happens because they completely lose their discipline under the heavy weight of the rules, the pressure, and those strict drawdown limits. When the account goes from demo to real, your psychology absolutely shifts. The goal morphs from protect the capital to I gotta get this payout at all costs. And man, that is exactly where the danger starts.
Now, I want you to really think about the comparison here because this exposes the single biggest trap in the entire prop firm industry. I call it the funded account illusion. You log in, you see a massive $50,000 headline balance staring back at you on the screen. And that number, it makes you feel wealthy. Invincible even. It kind of makes you want to put on huge position sizes. But here is the reality check. Your real capital is not that headline number. Your actual tradable capital is strictly the small drawdown limit that the firm allows. In a lot of cases, that's just $2,000. If you're out there sizing your trades based on the 50 grand instead of the 2 grand, you are setting yourself up for immediate failure.
To really drive this home, let's look at the actual math of survival. If you were to genuinely trade with a very conservative 0.25% risk per trade on an account that has a 10% drawdown limit, do you have any idea how many times you'd have to be wrong to lose the account? 40. You would have to literally lose 40 consecutive trades to mathematically blow the account. So if you're hitting your max drawdown, it just means your risk per trade is way, way too large for the reality of your account. One bad trade should absolutely never put your account anywhere near the edge of failure.
But despite that math being so clear, traders inevitably snap. It's a very real thing we can call the post-funding shift. The very second you get that congratulatory email, everything changes. The pressure to secure that first real payout completely alters your behavior. Instead of treating this new funded phase with even more discipline, you end up falling right into the aggressive sizing trap. You start totally abandoning the exact, patient process that got you funded in the first place. You drastically bump up your position sizes because, well, you want a massive first payout to flex. You start forcing really low-quality setups just because you feel this immense pressure to produce profits every single day. But listen to me. More trades do not mean more edge. If your A+ setup isn't there, the absolute best trade you can possibly take is no trade at all. And that intense payout pressure, it inevitably leads us to the most common and, frankly, the most destructive failure mode for prop firm traders, the revenge trading spiral.
Watch how this builds because it's like clockwork. Step 1. You take what should be a completely routine, acceptable $500 loss. Step 2. This loss triggers a massive emotional tilt because you just can't stomach being red for the day. Step 3. You literally double your position size to quote-unquote make it all back. And finally, step 4, you take another loss on that doubled size, blow completely past your daily loss limit, and destroy the entire funded account in under 90 minutes. If you lose control like this after just one loss, your account is basically constantly on the brink of termination.
But hey, maybe a losing streak doesn't trigger your spiral. If so, sheer greed probably will. Enter the give-back day. We've all been there. You have an incredible morning, let's say you're up 2 grand. Instead of protecting those profits, closing the laptop, and living to trade another day, you just keep clicking buttons. By the afternoon, the market shifts, you force a few bad trades, and suddenly you are down $800. You literally bled all your profits back to the market simply because you didn't have a hard rule to walk away when you were up.
Now, beyond the pure emotional breakdowns, there is a totally unforced error that ruins thousands of traders every single month: death by 1,000 rules.
You have to remember, prop firms are businesses, and they operate with incredibly strict parameters. So many funded accounts get instantly terminated simply because traders forget, ignore, or just completely misunderstand the fine print, saying, "Oh, I forgot my daily loss limit," is never going to fly on a funded account. A single oversight on a 30% consistency rule, a slight misunderstanding of how a trailing drawdown works, or holding a trade through a restricted red folder news event, it'll cost you everything. Before you even think about placing a trade, you should have a simple, printed rule checklist sitting right next to your keyboard. Being totally aware of your rules is the easiest way to protect yourself from these completely avoidable failures.
So here's the real difference between the amateurs and the pros.
The firm is going to give you a hard limit, say a 10% maximum drawdown. If you hit it, you're dead in the water. But professional traders, they survive by establishing a personal safety buffer. They'll set their own hard stop significantly tighter, at maybe 7%. That leaves a crucial 3% buffer for things like unexpected overnight gaps, sudden slippage, or just racking up commissions. You absolutely have to operate inside the firm's limits by essentially creating your own cage within their cage.
Okay, moving on to the final, and honestly, the stealthiest way that traders fail. It isn't a massive, dramatic, emotional explosion. It's the slow bleed. This is where untracked, completely invisible mistakes just drain your account over time. If you keep losing accounts repeatedly, I promise you there is a pattern. Maybe you always overtrade on Wednesdays. Maybe you fail right after putting in a payout request. This looks like dozens of poor risk-to-reward trades where you're taking undersized wins out of fear and oversized losses because you're hoping a terrible trade will magically turn around. You've got to rigorously track your R multiple. That's the ratio of what you risk versus what you make. Because if your profit factor dips below 1.0, your capital is slowly bleeding dry, and you probably won't even realize it until the account gets suspended.
So what does this all mean? How do we actually fix this? What is the data-driven blueprint for protecting the account first and growing it second?
The solution definitely isn't hunting for some magical new strategy. It's building your armor. You need to implement a layered risk management hierarchy. Level 1 is your maximum drawdown, the absolute floor. Level 2 is your daily loss limit, which is what stops a bad day from turning into a blown account. Level 3 is your give-back rule, to protect those profits when you're green. And level 4 is your risk per trade, controlling your mathematical exposure down to the single position. Every single level reinforces the others.
But let's be real for a second. Trying to enforce all of this using willpower alone, it is exhausting, and eventually your willpower is going to break. That's exactly where technology steps in. Tools like TradeZella have introduced features like Zella AI, which basically acts as an autonomous trading partner. It connects directly to your actual trade data and automatically flags behavioral deviations, emotional tilt, and rule compliance issues way before they ever compound into a blown account.
Leveraging the right tools to actively enforce your discipline is a total game changer. With features like Prop Firm Sync, you can centralize all your funded accounts and keep track of real-time rules right in one dashboard. No more accidental consistency limit breaches. Plus, with Trade Replay, you can visually re-watch your trades tick by tick. This is absolutely huge. It restores the real uncertainty of the live market, so you can review exactly when, how, and why your discipline collapsed. You can actually see the mistake and fix the behavior. In the end, surviving the funded stage completely comes down to tracking your data, strictly following your layered risk hierarchy, and protecting that capital at all costs. TradeZella is a remarkably strong tool for traders who want to track, review, and improve before they lose yet another account. In fact, you can get 20% off on TradeZella through my exclusive link today, so definitely check that out. But ultimately, you have to ask yourself a hard question. Will your own personal system catch your next emotional mistake, or are you just going to let the prop firm catch it for you?